Bienvenidos a todos, qué bueno que están con nosotros, porque en este Debayle Talk no saben qué increíble lo que van a aprender del mundo de la cosmética de la mano de uno de los mejores. Bueno, en este Debayle Talk está con nosotros la doctora Annie Black y les voy a explicar quién es Annie Black y por qué es tan importante que sepan todos los que me están escuchando y todas las que me están escuchando que usan cosméticos, que usan cremas, que les preocupa su piel, que están muy conscientes en cómo están envejeciendo, en observar las nuevas líneas de expresión, las arruguitas, que una mancha, que una flacidez. Annie Black es doctora en biología celular y molecular de la Universidad Laval y Claude Bernard en Lyon, Francia. Y hoy va a hablar con nosotros de algo que se llama microbioma y que se relaciona con cómo se ve nuestra piel. My dear Annie, thank you so much for talking to us. We're so happy to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, let me tell you something. I was telling the audience in Spanish that this conversation is for everybody that wants to understand better how our skin ages, how our skin looks, why it looked better 20 years ago, and how we can stop time. So I'm really excited to talk to you about two of my favorite topics, beauty and science. So why don't we start talking about the role that investigation and innovation of skincare products has today. I can imagine that in the 1940s, in the 1950s, you know, skincare was very, very different to what we see today and how that has evolved.
Totally. Well, everything revolves around science and our knowledge about the skin. And if we want to develop cosmetic products that are efficient, that work well, and where our consumers see actually a difference, we need to understand the skin. And we spent many, many years trying to understand skin biology and also what happens when you go outside, when you're exposed to UV rays, when you're exposed to pollution. So all of this knowledge is essential for us to develop active cosmetics and better cosmetic products.
Of course. Ella es la directora científica de Lancôme a nivel internacional, o sea, de Lancôme. Ella es la mera mera y de ella depende las cremas que nosotros acabamos usando y acabamos consumiendo. Entonces, esta es la mujer con la que hay que hablar. Now, to this day, Annie, as the scientific director of Lancôme, and, you know, it's one of the most respected and recognized brands all over the world. What has been the biggest discovery in dermal cosmetics?
That's a great question. And when we develop products, we look at the skin and we try to find products that will help even your skin tone, hydrate your skin. But until I'd say 15 or 20 years ago, we only focused on skin and skin cells. Now, the microbiome is completely changing all of this.
Explain how.
Because the microbiome is on the surface of your skin and it's an integral part of your skin barrier. Now, let me just step back a little. Our skin is extremely important because it is our largest organ. So when you talk about your organs, you think about your lungs, your heart, and of course, it's an evidence that you need to take care of your organs. Well, we need to take care of your skin. And when we look at our skin and try to understand how it works, we developed or we understood that there's a new player in this equation. There's the skin, your skin cells, and there's your microbiome. Your microbiome is on the surface of the skin, and it's an integrated ecosystem where you have bacteria, virus that are beneficial to your skin equilibrium. So that means that we have new targets, new things to understand, and also new levers to act on what happens in your skin. So for me, the discovery of the microbiome, the fact that we can also now act on the microbiome with our products is really one of the biggest discoveries of the last, I would say, decade or so.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to ask you a very difficult off-script question. As scientific director of Lancôme, when you sit down to develop, a new skincare line under the Lancôme brand for the next maybe, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, how does that process happen?
That's a great question.
Like compartmentalize and say, okay, we're going to develop a skincare line targeting wrinkles or hydration, or we're going to focus on, skin blemishes, or like, how is that process? I'm so curious.
Actually, it comes from two different directions. First, we talk with our consumers, we study human skin, and we try to understand what do our consumers need? What do women need? And then on the other side, there's science. And we're looking at the skin in all of its intricacies and complexities to try and understand how it works. And then these two will merge. So we have consumer needs and we have hard science. And that's really the fundamental basis of the way we develop products. Now, once we understand what our women are looking for, and we have our discoveries on the side, we say, okay, we need to develop this type of product. And if we want this to work, we would need this type of active ingredient. And that's how we build the product.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to the idea, of our mothers and grandmothers, I'm actually thinking, in the 1940s or 1930s, like, I wonder what they used. It was just something that maybe just felt good on the skin, and, that had, some oil or some cream that made you believe that it's more hydrated. But the thing about today, and what is so impressive about what you do at Lancôme, is the technology behind what we put on our faces every day with everything you've learned.
Definitely. And there are a lot of things or habits that people had many, many years ago that were kind of developed from just trial and error. People were trying, well, this kind of works, or, well, this doesn't work. And we kind of build also knowledge this way. Now, this way of doing things is quite similar to this scientific process, because it's the same thing, except that we have a lot of machinery and knowledge and all of different, I would say, very precise technology to understand when we try something, okay, this works. Now I'm going to try to understand why it works or why it doesn't work. So I would say the rationale or the way to do things is quite similar. The difference today is that we have a lot of science and technology to really understand and really build on all of this knowledge to always develop better products.
No, and also I guess that make sure from a scientific standpoint that what you are promising the consumer, you will deliver.
Of course. And that's why we publish also. We publish scientific papers. So we expose our discoveries and knowledge to the scientific community. So we can talk, exchange, scientific community can challenge also. So we can always continuously improve.
Of course. Now, let me ask a question to the audience. A ver, pregunta para todos los que están viendo este video. Déjenme aquí abajo en los comments si les pudiéramos prometer 3 cambios en su piel, ¿qué es lo que ustedes pedirían? What I'm asking everybody is, what is the top 3 things you would like to see differently in your skin? What do women want?
I think, especially with the recent COVID, I think people are looking for healthy. They're looking for healthy skin, stronger skin that will recover faster when it's aggressed. Because many people all over the world have been wearing masks daily, and this has a toll on our skin. So we need to have skin that is healthy, skin that is strong, and that will recover from all of these aggressors. And that's where the microbiome specifically comes in, because it will help your skin to better balance, to strengthen the skin barrier, and recover against aggressions. And that's why we developed Advanced Gel Chic.
Okay. That's where I was going, because something very interesting also is, many years ago, and not so long ago, there were creams. Serums did not exist. So let's talk about the birth of serums, and then talk about advanced Genifique, the serum that, we all use from Lancôme.
Actually, serums are quite interesting because they are products where you have concentrated ingredients, but in very light textures. And this light texture is quite important because it enables you to layer different products. So you have a serum that you will put on your skin in your first steps of your routine, and then you could add on a cream afterwards, a face cream, an eye cream, and so on. So serums are really important because they can help you to have an added benefit, target some things, and also be able to layer different products for different outcomes.
And is it true, because the molecules of a serum are much smaller, it is much easier for your skin to absorb? I always make this analogy when I talk about it on the radio show, is I imagine that our skin is like a hummingbird. And so when we put the serum on, it's like a thirsty hummingbird, drinking all that up, which is, so healthy for the skin.
That's a great analogy, by the way. But serums, I would say the fact that serums can be really, that get penetrate really quickly into the skin is really because of the science of formulas. Because we talk a lot about active ingredients, but formulas, which is really the backbone of a product, is extremely important. And when you look at Genifique, it has a backbone of hyaluronic acid. So it's specifically designed to be the best, I would say, backbone to have all of these ingredients in. And it's designed also to be absorbed quickly and to really hydrate the skin very, very fast.
So talking specifically about advanced Genifique serum, what does it do? What are the key ingredients? And who should use it?
Let's start with the ingredients. Okay. The key to advanced Genifique is a very specific complex of prebiotics and probiotic fractions. Now, prebiotics are kind of sugars, different sugars, simple sugars and more complex sugars, and these are actually food for the beneficial bacteria that you have on your skin.
You see the hummingbird?
Yes. And probiotics are actually bacteria and yeast that are also beneficial for your skin and your microbiome. And these are fractions. Now, one of the reasons why we use fractions is that they are in the product and they are stable. Because if you've ever heard of probiotics, very often they are live and you need to keep them at 4 degrees in your fridge. So not that simple to keep your cosmetic products in your refrigerator. So that's why we use fractions. So we use a biotechnology technique to just cut the probiotics in little fractions so you can keep your product at room temperature for 12 months. So that's one of the advantages. And you have all of the benefits of prebiotics. So that is really the key, I would say, to advanced Genifique. Now, there are 2 other ingredients that are really important. First, there's hyaluronic acid. Now, a lot of people know about hyaluronic acid, which is a great molecule. And it's kind of like a sponge. It can absorb up to 1,000 times its weight in water. So that's really the backbone of this formula. And also what gives it its, I would say, unique sensoriality is really based on this hyaluronic acid. And another important ingredient is vitamin C, G. Now, you're going to ask, why G? What does it mean? Vitamin C, of course, is also very well known and extremely important for skin tone. But it's unfortunately quite unstable. It's very unstable to temperature. So we use a stabilized version of vitamin C that we call vitamin C, the G. So it's stable in the product, stable on your skin for the best outcome possible. Now for your second question. The beauty of advanced Genifique is that it's universal. So that means it can be used by young women of 20, 25, older women like me who are around 50, And it's really universal because it works on your barrier function. And your barrier function is critical for your skin. The barrier function is what keeps the good things in, water, electrolytes that you need, getting back to your hummingbird, and the bad stuff out, which means UV, pollution, and things like that. So it is really key. So Advanced Genifique really works to improve your barrier function and helps your skin recover.
Now, all that will happen to our skin. How do you use serum properly, and what step of the skincare daily routine or nightly routine does the serum use?
Great question again. First, always cleanse your skin, especially when you go outside, if you live in a polluted city. So it's really important to have good cleansing, but gentle cleansing. Once you've cleansed your skin properly, then you put on Genifique. Genifique should be your first step in your routine, morning and night. And because it has such a light fluid texture, once you've applied Genifique on your face, on your cheeks, forehead, chin, you can also use it on your neck, by the way. And usually when I still have a little left on my hands, I put it on my hands. So yes. And afterwards, you can use your face cream. And what are the reasons?
And then whatever's left, I just go like this.
Yes, perfect. Perfect. Because hands are important too.
Okay, so, and then everything comes after that.
Yes, and you can use any day cream that you like. You can either match it with Rénergie or Absolu, depending on what you want to achieve.
Exactly. So where can everybody find more information?
Donc on website.
Yeah,
on the website. And we also have a great Instagram account where we do scientific capsules that are called Science Unfiltered, where we talk about beauty routines, answer questions also from our audience, so we can get a lot of information there. And we have a great virtual pop-up store, a Genifique pop-up store.
That's great. And look also what I have here, which is
that is wonderful.
Wonderful, no?
It's a great product. I have a great routine, by the way, to try this on. You know, if I may, there are a lot of people who use eye cream, but they don't necessarily know how to apply it. People say, well, it's just on the bottom. Well, you can put it on the top as well. So, sorry, I'm going to take my glasses off.
Yeah, me too. Okay, teacher.
Yes, teacher. Take a little dab on your skin, and then you go like this. Put it on your fingers, and then you dab in the bottom. You put a little on top, and then take your fingers like this, and you go Uma Thurman.
Exactly.
So you massage.
Yeah.
Well, that's top.
That's actually
the bottom.
Because that's very Japanese. We tend to believe that we shouldn't, massage vigorously our skin, but and we just go like that. But actually, this also drains all the fluid.
Exactly. It's great for microcirculation because you have a lot of tiny little blood vessels underneath your skin. And when you massage, you activate the microcirculation, which is really good.
Fantastico. What do you think?
Have a great routine.
What do you think the future of skincare is going to look like?
A lot of science.
Dr. Annie. I wonder what it looks like.
For me, the future of skincare is really still science-based. Because as our knowledge of the skin increases, we'll have new ways to understand and also develop different products. So for me, definitely science-based. It's the future.
Absolutely. Well, it was great, having the opportunity to talk to you. You're all the way in Paris. We're all the way in Mexico. But it's very interesting because consumers are bombarded by such an array of options outside that sometimes it's difficult to understand how you make a wise decision. And I think that, in the case of Lancôme, that has been around so many years, listening to you and letting people see how much research, how much investigation, how much science and technology is behind this little potion, I think is very powerful for us to understand the big difference between buying, a great, recognized, renowned brand and just something that you found, in wherever. And there's a lot of science behind this, and that's why these things work. At the end, when you buy skincare, you want to make sure it's going to perform. And then there's Dr. Annie Black, Director of Science of Lancôme, who's behind everything you see and everything you use. Annie, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Martha. It was a real pleasure.
I send you a big kiss all the way to Paris.
Me too.
And let me say this in Spanish. Advanced Genifique, que es un serum espectacular, pero es toda una línea que ya escucharon, que tiene un chorro de ciencia atrás, y por eso Lancôme sigue siendo Lancôme. Y qué bonito que pudimos platicar con ella para que entendamos todos los consumidores lo que hay detrás de las grandes marcas y la cantidad de ciencia, investigación y desarrollo para que productos de buena calidad que hagan en nuestra piel lo que prometen hacer lleguen a nuestras manos. À bientôt.
Au revoir, Martha.
Bonne nuit, Paris. Bonjour, Mexique. A big kiss to you.
Thank you. It was lovely. I had a great time.
Me too. Bueno, con esto, ustedes no se vayan. Acuérdense que siempre queremos que se suscriban a nuestro canal. Si les gusta lo que hacemos, denos clic en la campanita para que les notifiquemos la próxima vez que subamos contenido. Y acuérdense, lo que sea que sepan, siempre compártanlo. Share knowledge.